The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.
What do diplomats think about the Georgian investment climate? What are the main challenges that investors are facing in Georgia? To answer these and other questions, our analyst Georgy Aronia talked to Swedish and Japanese ambassadors and the regional director of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, Katarina Bjorlin Hansen. Here's an overview of their conversation.
For Georgia and any other country, creating an appropriate investment environment for attracting direct foreign investment is of utmost importance. To do that, however, the country needs to tackle the problems laying before it. Among Georgia's main challenges, the diplomats name high inflation rate and energy security. The ambassador of Japan to Georgia, Akira Imamura, thinks that the main challenge the Japanese investors are facing is the lack of information about Georgia and the opportunities it creates. Interestingly, the trade turnover between Japan and Georgia is on the rise. In 2021, this figure stood at $205.6 million USD, while in the first 9 months of 2022, it increased to $219.6 million USD. PMG talked to the Japanese ambassador about what Japanese investors are interested in the most, which according to him is the energy sector.
Knowledge about the situation, the conditions that is existing right now in Georgia. We see the two-digit growth in the economy and also the growing volume of cargo that goes to between Asia and Europe through the middle corridor that of course Georgia is part of, and of course the necessity for becoming more secure in the energy sector against the background of the war in Ukraine. So this creates a huge opportunity for Japanese business to do their projects in Georgia. So I look forward, and we're organizing a business forum with Japanese business community on 1st of November in Sheraton. So we are hoping that the discussion will lead to further closer contacts and cooperation between our businesses.
The importance of energy and food supply security is underlined by the regional director of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, Katarina Bjorlin Hansen. Yet according to Hansen, inflation is one of the main challenges that Georgia is facing today. It shall be noted that among the international financial institutions, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development is one of Georgia's strongest supporters. To date, the EBRD has invested 5.2 billion euros in Georgia.
The Georgian economy is facing the challenge of inflation, but it's everywhere in the world. It's not unique for Georgia. Georgia is an open economy, and automatically it will face the same challenges as the countries around us and in the world. So what we need to do today is to work very hard on energy security and also the supply security for food products. So there are a lot of things to be done, but Georgia is well on the track. Georgia has a good framework for investments. There are always room for improvement. That's the case in every single country. We work through the Investors Council with our partners to try to remedy all sorts of shortcomings where we can make the investment climate better.
Investment climate was a topic of conversation between BMG and the ambassador of Sweden to Georgia, Ulrik Tidestrom. According to the ambassador, many Swedish companies in the Georgian market employ quite a few Georgians. Diplomat's statement echoes the trade turnover between the two countries. In 2021, the turnover amounted to 19.4 million USD, while in the first 9 months of 2022, this figure increased to 23.6 million USD. Along the Sweden-Georgia trade relations, the Swedish ambassador sees growth potential for improving the trade relations between Georgia and the European Union. Last year, the trade turnover between Georgia and the EU amounted to 3 billion USD, but in the first 9 months of 2022, the figure amounts to 2.7 billion USD.
We have quite a number of Swedish companies that are present in Georgia, and together they create jobs and incomes for over 20,000 women and men in Sakartvelo. Some of them are very big, some are small, but all of them are interesting, and they are also very good role models when it comes to responsible business. So I'm very proud of them. I think there is still more potential for more Swedish companies in Georgia, more Georgian companies in Sweden, and definitely potential for more trade. We are not yet trading that much bilaterally, but for us the most important thing when it comes to trade is not necessarily that Georgia exports to Sweden, but that Georgia exports more to the EU as a whole. And this is something that Sweden continues to support, including by assisting Georgian companies to meet the EU standards so that we can, with time, trade much more together.
According to the diplomats, tackling the high inflation rate and ensuring energy and food security are some of Georgia's main challenges. Let's hope that Georgia, its government and the private sector will act effectively and sustainably, which in the end will make our country better.
The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.